Hello and welcome to our second session of the Veil Inheritance. This is another iteration of the Veil, which is a cyberpunk PBTA game by Fraser Simons. It's one of my favorite games. A strong influence on Hearts of Wulin. I'll be absolutely honest about that. This is a biopunk game with a strong Cowboy Bebop vibe. All of our characters have implanted memories that connect to moves that they do, and there's a certain question of identity that is always roaming in the background for our characters. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this session is part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. Before we go too much further, know that for all the sessions that are played on the Gauntlet, we use safety tools in a layered set of those. For this particular game, we're using the X card. We are also using the open door policy, and then lines and veils is our real core tool. So let me go through what we have as lines, veils, and then ask firsts. So we have lines on harm to animals, harm to children, homophobia, sexual assault, slavery, and torture. And then for veils, we have eye injuries and racism and spiders. So those are all fade to black things. And then lastly, things that we would ask before we brought to bear in the game would be epidemics, mind control, and sexual content. We've also got a certain amount of a palette about things we want to see and things we don't want to see. I won't go over those, but players know those things are kind of on the table. But I want to have our players introduce themselves. We got a lot of the mechanics in play last time, including relationships and our stats and so on. But I want to talk about, after we have people go through their characters, what the mechanic is for experience points in this game besides the XP on a miss. So with that in mind, I am going to start with Vic here. So Patrick, can you tell us about your character?
Sure. I'm Patrick, he, him pronouns, and I'm playing Vic, who's the mirror playbook. She, her pronouns most of the time, although variable depending on the situation, because as the mirror, one of her main things is reflection biotech that's cyberware integrated throughout her entire body that allows her to change her shape, appearance, pretty much everything about herself to copy other people outright or emulate parts of their appearance or even their body makeup with all of the strange cybernetics and bio enhancements that bodies come with now. Let's see. Her conditioning statements, directives, sort of impulses are to become what is needed to achieve an objective and to gain insight into someone while embodying them. And let's see, I have neat light up explodey kinetic bolos. The imprinted move that that again, this body, this sort of genetic design came with was construct, where I can host a digital lobby, and I do want to play with, bringing people in and out of different levels of the veil and mind space and time speed and that sort of fun nonsense. I have my reflection ability to look like other people and my white rabbit ability to entrance and entice truths and lies out of people. Ooh, you're muted. And also I have a badass day glow, orange and pink and yellow, sort of, I don't know, weird space car. It's cool, man. It's just real cool.
And to remind everybody about the conditioning, you have one condition I asked you to take last time, but you'll need to take a second one. Conditioning, these are things that you don't want to go against. If you go against them, there are costs to that. So you want to keep that in mind. Let's slide over one to Forte.
Yes, Forte. Um, so my name is Sherry. I use she, her pronouns. I'm playing Forte, the Clipper, who basically uses she, her pronouns. Let's see here. The Clipper, their purpose, their programming is being designed for a singular purpose. The Clippers is to erase people, their data, their digital footprints, their life. That sounds ominous. And so her conditioning, which is essentially how the thing that she has to so far conform with, is that her conditioning is to erase or destroy residue after clipping someone. So clearly in the act of clipping, she's picking up residue from their lives. And so she is she is one of those clippers who is intent on erasing it rather than using it to make art or something else to relax. She has a lot of body mods, and she has, let's see, her imprint move, which is something that's from her previous life, is from the architect book. And so they're very good at manipulating the veil around them to their own purposes. So the one that she took from the architect that she brought with her still is There Is No Spoon, which allows her to manipulate the environment to mitigate damage. And when she does that, she's pretty good at it. And then she has the standard clipper moves where she can neutralize people. And then she has to make a residue move to see how much of the chaff of that whole person that she just got rid of is in her system now. She also has the ability raw data. She can, when she analyzes, she can treat a person as if they were a place or situation. So it allows her to use a very good study move on a person is essentially it. And let's see here. And those are the big things right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
And then let us come to Wraith. Whenever I say Wraith, I think of Wraith Vaughan Williams, the composer. That is, I just like in my head, like whenever I say Wraith, the next two words are Vaughan Williams.
I am the same.
Okay, good.
I am playing. Hi there. I'm Tyler. He, him pronouns, and I'm playing Rafe Ransom. He also has he, him pronouns, and he is the shepherd, which is our pilot. As a shepherd, he connects with machines with that sort of innate feel, is able to do his move of convergence or confluence, sorry, where interfacing with vehicles, treating them like NPCs and handling them better. His conditioning is explore the unexplored regardless of danger and prioritize a vessel's well-being over a person. His imprint is coming from the Catabolist, which is kind of someone who adds lots and lots of different tech into themselves, sort of creates themselves out of weird tech. And he took the move Things Speak, which allows him to talk to stuff, objects. Well, he can learn things about objects just by holding them. He has that confluence that I spoke of, as well as Steel and Resolve, which means when he's in a fight in his vessel, he is pretty impressive and people get scared. Let's see. He is the pilot of our big ship, which is the Cry Havoc. And he also has a sheath, a kind of mech, a big, about 10-foot tall war machine that he calls Dog.
Excellent. And then that gets his carriage return, and we come back to Annalise.
Hi, I'm Steven. I use the he, him pronouns. Today I'm playing Annalise, or Ghost, who uses the she, her pronouns. She is the linker playbook. And specializes sort of in infiltration and tracking people down. Um, Her conditionings are treat everything and everyone as transient and trace a path no other linker has taken. She has a lot of enhancements, mainly about senses trying to track someone down or compensating for, hearing compensating for other noises, that kind of thing. And moves, her imprinted move is parkour, which lets her, escape an enemy or leave no trace and that kind of stuff. She has tracer, which is to help track something down, and she has ghost, which is to help hide herself.
Excellent. Let me talk briefly before we get too much further about the XP system in this. In previous Veil games, we had values that you questioned or challenged to get XP, basically as a means of testing what mattered to you and so on. And that was kind of core to the play of this. Because Veil Inheritance does have a real sense of identity and memories and things like that, what you're going to have are questions. And you're going to have 3 questions. And I just want to kind of lay out how, for example, the quick start lays these out. And I'm gonna let you kind of think about them. And at the end of the session, I mean, you can note these down as we go along if you're like, oh, I got a good idea for a question. At the end of the session, we'll try to like make concrete at least 1 or 2 of those questions for you so that we can give you XP, because you get XP when you move towards investigating or finding an answer. Not even necessarily finding the answer, but like taking steps towards answering. And the questions that are suggested are sort of 3 levels. And the first one is something you want to find out about your character right now in this session. What's the thing your character's most concerned about figuring out, with motivation, discovering in this that they're connected to. These questions, are going to get rewritten between sessions. So these aren't like set in stone things. But the first question is like an immediate question of, oh, I want to figure out, how I can be, successful in this infiltration or something like that. The second question is a question about your character that you eventually want answered. So this is something about your backstory. We hinted a little bit at this last time, and I'll point to one that I think we definitely have on the table, which is Wraith. You don't know exactly what happened when that whole getting kicked off occurred, right? With the getting dismissed from the fleet.
Right. I know that I took over the flotilla for a while, and then I was persona non grata.
Yeah, but there's some elements of that you seem to suggest you didn't have a full grasp on. So that's a good one to play on that. And then the third question is, and I'm going to kind of read this text to you, is focuses on the setting instead of the character. It can be used to inject something new into the world you'd like to explore, or target something in the fiction you specifically want highlighted. Like it could be a new location, people, technology, things like that. So you can ask a question about something that's, in the universe, and use that to set something up, but also as a leverage for getting XP. We will check in on those at the end, and we'll talk about that and talk about how we kind of generate XP from that. But most of your XP, I'm sure, will come from misses, right, Patrick?
I mean, that's what I planned for.
Okay, yeah, I think so.
So we do get XP off of misses.
XP on a miss, yes. Also, so I was thinking about it, and I think Vic, for how it has you roll cyber brain, for your.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
At first I was like, oh, well, we'll have you match it to a state. But then I realized that one of the advantages to the cyber brain in the game is that you don't have to mark a state. And if I had you link it to one, you'd be kind of burning through that potentially. So, but you can use just, as opposed to roll cyber brain, just roll. Choose your state and roll it and mark that rather than having to yoke it to a particular stat.
Okay.
Okay. So last time you four took a job, you were arrived in the fascia system and were overcharged maybe a little and realized that you were running a little close to the bone. And when you went, you kind of looked into contracts and you eventually were put in contact with Frau Laurent, who I've put a picture of in the NPC thing. And she seemed very on the up and up and completely open and honest with you. Sidebar, she wasn't. That was a fail. But the group, after some discussions, agreed to take the job and negotiated a higher rate after some pushing. Basically, the job is that in this system, it has a lot of terraforming that's going on various planets. There's one planet that has been, fully terraformed and settled, and there are others that are under work. And the planet Fascia Prime is one of those that's still being constructed on these grand sweeping terraformers that are going along. Terraforming is a very touchy process and often has failures, catastrophic failures, cascade failures that result in disasters, sometimes even after people have put settlements down. And what you have been tasked to do is go to a cruiser, essentially a ship that is using a kind of a grav field to fly around the planet on a cruise, touring disaster sites, disaster tourism. And it is a ship of the elite of the system. And you have been asked to extract a person named Romero. And Romero is there in the company, if you've been told, of his wife and his family. And he is in fact the client. So he may have some other details once you get there. But the intent is that he mysteriously vanishes during the course of this. There is the sense that you get is that there probably is some watching and some opposition there if he's going to the trouble to hiring a team of people to do this. Beyond that, I don't think you have much info about what's going on, but you have no timetable, particularly except the end of the cruise, which is going to happen in a few days. So you get a little bit of time to do some legwork. You put your ship in essentially a following pattern, and you were able to parkour aboard the vessel, shut down any kind of security alarms, and as we saw last time, the four of you are on board. It would have been that flicker as the sort of dominant veil of the ship came into play, and you would have had that reality shift as you kind of move through. Down here at the very bottom levels, the hangars and things like that, it is the broadcast is not as strong, so you're still getting sort of the system-wide veil being broadcast by the AI that is the system manager. That AI's name is Will. Most of the other AIs have more elaborate names This one is simply called Will. And you are starting to move up, and very quickly, once you kind of start to get into the field of the actual veil, it is Baroque, it is gaudy, it is Venetian. Tell me, let's go back here. Vic, what is one thing you notice as you kind of move through from sort of the mechanical engineering levels up to sort of the crew bunks and the preparation areas and things like that? What do you start to see of this decor?
Well, it's very notable for being on a train and working through, especially some of the utilitarian areas. But there is the canal, of course, that runs down the entire length of the train.
Absolutely. The ship has this canal that runs through it, that is virtual water and probably a motorized pathway that's running.
Yeah, it's like a people mover. You stand on the little miniature gondolas and move your way down the canal.
Forte, what is the striking thing about the outfit / uniform / virtual costuming for the staff?
I think that they've gone to the trouble to like create these essentially the veil has this sort of very elaborate embroidered medieval style fabric and everything, but it's actually like the whole modeling process actually, and Forte can't help but notice this, it actually slows everything down because modeling this heavy super embroidered fabric is still a lot of work. And it's a really weird thing to have going on a uniform, is so much process time on these uniforms, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. Tyler, this is a pretty state-of-the-art gravatic, essentially. It's a cruise liner, but floating off the ground. It's pretty state-of-the-art, high-end, generally well-maintained, but they've clearly cut corners on something here. And you're a pretty good reader of systems and ship mechanics. What have they cut corners on?
As we go through, and of course we have the beautiful artwork that's on the walls and all of that. As you walk down or ride the gondolas along, you'll eventually get a little bit of the Flintstone, where it's really just the same bit that passes along behind you.
They don't have a big catalog.
Right.
They're reusing that. Okay, I think that's absolutely fair. And with any of these kind of massive cruisers that have, indoor food courts and balconies and, those kinds of things, and a big glass domed area, there are always going to be like special, like athletic features or sports features or something like that. What is the striking like thing like that, like a rock climbing wall or a wave pool or a zero G something? What is it that we see that the ship is like, man, and you get free passes to go and do this all you want? Yeah, for Annalise. You are muted though.
There, how does that work?
That works much better.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, what this looks like is it's sort of like disaster themed escape rooms. It's not you have to find things out, it's a dexterity thing. So you get to not only watch and observe the existing disasters, but you kind of get to play through it. and you have to like jump over the river and run away from the lava and all that kind of stuff.
Could you survive Pompeii? The escape room. Okay, I like that very much. So the four of you have arrived. We'll assume that there's a moment that you kind of have gotten out of the observed area, and you're like on one of the levels that is essentially crew bunks and things like that, and you can talk amongst yourselves as to what your next step is.
Well, we're here. Gotta admit, these outfits are a little gaudy, but I suppose first thing is to figure out where the target is, right?
Yeah, I think it's find out where the target is, and then probably watch their movements to make sure we can know the right time to extract them.
They're
Need
gonna.
to consult too. I need to know how clipped he needs to be.
I don't think he needs to be clipped at all. I mean, we just got to get him out of here as quietly and without anybody noticing.
Well, that's what we were told, but they said we should consult with him of whether he wants to be gone forever or just whatever.
True. I'm betting he's going to be in the hoi polloi, the high end area. Vic, you probably got the best chance of dealing with the upper crust, right?
I can move through and see what I can track down.
I'm probably good at tracking down our mark. You're the one who would probably have to approach them.
I probably work well as crew. I could be able to get around in places that, the engineers and stuff like that. Forte, what you think? Bodyguard for the fancy person, or you want to go looking into stuff in particular?
I would be happy to accompany Vic. If there's something that bears looking into, I would be happy to do that. Does that seem okay, Vic?
Sure, we should probably go ahead and get to blending in. We can pick up on the mood of things and maybe any general rumors. Ghost, you get in contact when you've tracked down the target and we can move in closer.
All right.
So let's start with Annalise and Vic and Forte. I'm going to say Fort every time. Once I get it wrong, it's wrong forever. What do we think we see? The three of you move up into the upper areas. It gets a little bit more fancy, a lot more Baroque, a lot more elaborate as you get up into these areas. I think, yeah.
Actually, this might be a good time for as we're getting ready to split up and potentially split up later to see if I can set up a digital lobby for us to communicate and keep in contact, off the trains veil.
That seems perfect. So that essentially your infosig isn't going in with the general stuff.
Okay. I think this will be peace. We've gotten on, things have gone smoothly so far, and this is our start of blending in and looking like we belong here. We're on a cruise and we need to relax. So let me roll. There we go. That's an 8.
There's an 8, so you get to pick. It's basically a link between you and another mind, unsecure, but outside of the other communication protocols that are going on here. What do you want as your extra thing with that?
Hmm.
And I assume
Uh,
actively maintaining it means as long as you don't go to sleep.
Yeah. I'd like to get all four of us in. So it will be the connection could be found and gotten into, and I think it will have to, like, it'll take some for concentration. It's sort of this constant itch between her shoulder blades that she is constantly making sure that she's not scratching, she's not moving, she's not twitching weird. It's just this one thing that she has to concentrate on.
What does the lobby that you create look like? Like, what's the space that you generate?
I think what it is sort of a it's sort of like your classic Mindspace Infinite Void, but it's a bit like Cloud Layer. So there's some colors and tones that shift through the cloud layer, and it's sort of responsive in that if you ask for or need or move to expect something, objects will sort of zoom in from the infinite outsides and appear in the middle space where people need them.
Nice. And so everybody can communicate freely without any worries right now.
Okay. And for color, the first thing Forte does is put a chessboard in the middle of that space with a thing on it, so that if someone does wander in, there's a purpose for why the crew might have this room up.
Nice.
So Annalise, when you're in that stage of a hunt, before you actually have a trace that you can work from, how do you proceed in kind of going in and finding your target?
So what exactly is a trace?
I imagine like either an electronic trace, a marker of them in the veil, or a physical trace of some kind.
I see. So I think this typically it looks like a lot like a old PI. It's going in and seeing if I can look up their phone number, looking to see if I can look up their address. So the equivalent would be, can I find his bunk? Can I see where he's located or find his present location in order to kind of bump into him or something like that?
Absolutely. This feels like lift a veil to get information. It's pretty broadly accessible, and you're trying to do this in such a way that you don't create noise.
Right. And I think I'm going to do this with joy. This is kind of the beginning of the hunt, the anticipation. So, and I rolled an 8 plus 1 is 9.
So you will check through, and there aren't a full roster of passengers. There are some midship people here, but you definitely get the sense that this vessel has been hired out for a smaller group of people. So they have a lot. I mean, there are some other guests and things. You think they might be like down chain corporate, people who've gotten things. But there are clearly sort of 3 blocks of in sort of the 3 suites that are up there. Romero is clearly with a family that's called Mount, and they are the sort of clearly the ones that are managing things. There are 2 other families. There's Capel on the one side, and then Torque on the other side. And it does look like Romero is there. He's there with his wife. He's up in the sort of upper deck areas, and you very much get the sense, just from sort of, quick surveillance and things like that, that this is a guy who is with his wife and family, basically their family, or he has clearly a couple of bodyguards that are with him. So just a quick check through, and you don't see like an obvious time where he is allowed to be by himself. And that feels more than a little deliberate to you.
So I let Vic know. I think that at this point, Romero is being watched. He has a couple of bodyguards. He has family members that are around him. By being watched, you mean by the family members or by bodyguards as well?
The sense is that he's never let out of the family sight. Either, he's with the group of the family,
Yeah,
or the bodyguards, who you get the sense are probably in his wife's employ, are nearby.
So, you can take your mark as you want, but the family members seem to hold the most power over him.
And I think as the two of them sort of are passing each other in the digital lobby space, Vic is, like, as you're describing it, looking down at this chessboard, which has like this abstract pattern running through it that is sort of a representation of the train. And she's like pushing a piece to where you're talking about that he is, and a couple of pawns to either side for the bodyguards, to leave something there marking for other people coming through. And then she'll nod and sort of has a drink lazily in her hand as you pass each other out of the lobby.
And I think the chess set actually, as we move these pieces, they've actually formed to look like the bodyguards or Romero. So we're actually moving those pieces. Yeah.
Getting that reality set up. So Vic, let me come to you with that information that Annalise has provided as you move along through here. Ride one of these gondolas down the center of the liner. Look around. What is it you want to do?
Where is that space? Is that a public space that Romero's hanging out in?
You have the sense that while there are some sort of public kind of lobby spaces, infrequently they move to there, but they've got their own sort of private suites and private viewing areas. And you have the sense that there are some recreational activities that are for the elite that are up there in that part of the ship.
So I'm not quite gonna just like barge into their private areas yet, but I do think I want to go find like a public bar sort of area that's the closest to where Romero's private areas are, so that like were he or any of his to come out, this would be the place they might come to. And while I'm there, I'm keeping an eye out for, like, this is a luxury pleasure cruise.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot of these like privacy walls. So probably the people that are going to be able to go through the most privacy walls are going to be the hospitality, the like staff of the cruise here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm keeping an eye out for someone sort of hurrying through in and out of the important areas, in and out of the back areas, someone who looks like they're harried and gophering for rich passengers.
So what is your main focus here? Do we want to do like an analyze on the situation, or do you want to spot one of these hospitality staffs and move on them? Because it's not going to be hard to find some very harried hospitality staff here.
I think I want to find one and move on them. I sort of want to get them alone long enough that I can try and use my reflection to copy whatever implants they have that are letting them like go past all the security doors.
Absolutely. I think you spot someone who you kind of wait because they're like you've got a rich bounty of targets here. So you have the luxury to wait until you find someone who is maybe roughly your shape and size, and then kind of follow them back while they go and take a vape break in one of these areas. And they're not sure, you don't look like the hoi polloi, so they're maybe a little bit more relaxed, and you strike up your conversation.
Yeah, and as I do, I think I'm sort of indicating there the whatever device he's vaping off of, if he'll share. But of course, before I do, I have to take off these gloves that I'm wearing, and I have to take them off very precisely and slowly and in a sort of entrancing way, finger by finger, as we're going through the conversation, and then carefully folding the one glove and going to the other hand, and then carefully folding them together before they go away in a pocket.
He stands so still that his costume actually resolves.
It's actually had enough time for all of the lag to catch up.
Yeah.
And I'm gratefully taking the vaping device from him. I sort of breathe out a relaxed sigh.
Let's have you roll reflection.
Let's see. I think she's actually getting a lot of joy out of like making him wait, like he keeps trying to say something or he keeps trying to hand it over, and she's like, no, just a moment more. And all of this business with the gloves, she's actually sort of enjoying herself. So let's roll with joy. Spinny, which is a 9.
That's a 9. So you can pick 2 of those results.
So I don't need to pass exactly for him, although my clothes will sort of shift into that same color and cut scheme the staff has. But I will take on any enhancements that he has to help him get through and link into the systems here on the train. And it won't be physically or mentally harmful.
Yeah. So definitely it is a encrypted RFID tag embedded in his heart. That is there, and probably other minor things that are just about tracking orders, hospitality things, all of that kind of stuff. Probably a clean pack enhancement, so they're always spotless. But those are the basics, absolutely, and you don't cause harm to them, so they don't notice.
And I'll sort of lean in as I'm handing the vape device back and sort of laugh conspiratorially and say, "Can I tell you something?"
Yeah.
Funny enough, I don't actually even have a ticket for this ride.
Okay.
So tell me, if you would, just, again, off the record, since we're friends, since we're sharing, What do you know about Romero's bodyguards?
They're always with him. I don't have the sense they're protecting him, but rather they're keeping him in place.
Interesting. You're fun. I like you. Just keep an eye out. There'll be a good tip if I can use you again.
Like the serotonin levels spike when you say tip. That's clearly built into his programming. He nods.
And she, very much stands up straight, does the sort of brusque breathing. Well, okay, it's, I think, time to get back to things, as she pulls out the gloves that she just moments before put in her pockets and just like quickly pulls them on.
Shoop.
And heads away.
Forte, what are you doing?
Okay. So the thing is I do a lot of erasing people's data. And the thing is I've gotten a sense of certain patterns that you see. And so I'm going to look for Juliet.
Okay. That feels like lift the veil.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. What's the best match to curiosity? Is that joy or is that something else?
Let me look. We've got the wheel.
I know, but I got the old awesome broken
But there's
image thing.
Oh, is it not showing on yours?
It is not. It looks like a broken image, which is just.
It's annoying.
Yeah, it does that very often. Here, let me see if I move it down. It might be because it's smashed. Nope, nothing's fixing it right now.
I think that probably joyful is your best bet for
It's
curious.
a -1, so that's great. But okay, I'm gonna roll it just because maybe I'll do okay. So I'm rolling 2d6 and I'm gonna subtract 1 from it. Let's see here. Did it roll?
That is a 9.
Oh, awesome. I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So I got a 9.
Get a 9.
Yay.
So you will definitely get the sense that there is a person there among the Capel who, like when you kind of watch the movement of the patterns, there's that coming close, the longing glance, the looking away, but trying to be, as much as anything, trying to be subtle about that, but not succeeding. Oh, geez. I saw an error message pop up when I went to the NPCs. Thank you. It freaked me out like bad. And that's actually the system AI is Will. It's for the whole solar system. So I'm going to grab an image. We'll put for our tools there. Let's see what is appropriate here. Do that. So she's amongst the Capel family. She is not as monitored as say Romero is, but you definitely have the sense that she has a couple of siblings who are watching her to make sure she doesn't get up to anything.
Okay, so now the question becomes, is this ship always this particular layout of this kind of Venetian look and stuff? Or is this some sort of, I don't know, complicated role play that's going on here?
That's a really good question.
Yes, it is. And I'm going to figure it out.
Okay. Wraith.
Yes.
What are you doing?
As folks head off, I think I'm going to begin wandering down the halls and open up. Carpe diem. You are an exceptional piece of machinery. And I'm trying to go and get towards like the not Jeffrey's tubes, but more like where the engineers, the stuff off of the halls that the people go through.
Yeah, the side passages and the back
Mhm.
of house things and all of that. So that feels to me like you're trying to sway the ship
I
to
think
let
I
you in
am.
there.
Yeah.
What is the name of the ship's AI? What's its designation?
I think it's Caesar.
Uh,
As in Carpe Diem, seize the day, Caesar.
okay. Then let's have you make that roll. What do you want to roll sway with?
Let's see here. I'm communicating with the ship, and I love doing that. Well, let's go with joy. I'm gonna mark it again. Boom. And rolling. That's a 10.
That is a 10. So you only have to choose one of those things to get them.
Do I choose or do they choose?
You choose.
Gotcha. Let's see.
At least for this, I'm going to let you choose.
Okay. I think I'm going to give a piece of myself to them. I think I'm going to open, this connection going through. I'm going to open up and start showing. Does this cruiser go interplanetary, interstellar? It's just a
It is
ground crawler.
purely locked here on land, just able to glance up at the stars, but able to reach them.
Then I think I'm going to open up and start showing the wonders of flying out in space. And it's a kind of a conversation, let me tell you about, and all of these sort of things.
Absolutely. And you can kind of do that through your confluence, even as you're moving along. Where do you want to get to now that the ship is going to let you go where you want?
I think probably my first task is to find our escape route.
Okay.
So I'm heading first to like the hangar, I think.
Okay.
That's probably a wise choice. Somewhere once we get him, we can boom and get out.
You will get back there, and there are a number of like ship skiffs, but both for emergencies, but also to travel down, like tourist skiffs and things like that. But there are also 3 larger ships that are in here that are clearly one for each of the families.
And we have the Mount family.
Yep.
And
that is Romero's family.
That is Romero's family, and they're the ones that are kind of keeping an eye on him, or it's the wife that's keeping an eye on him.
Well, that's the wife's family, yeah.
That's the wife's family.
Yeah.
And who's Jules? I'm sorry.
So there is another family there, the Capels, that I will let Fort explain that, but except that Fort believes that there is someone of interest to this
Gotcha.
Jules.
Gotcha. So wife's family is the Mounts who are keeping an eye on Romero.
Right.
Okay. Here in the hangar, I honestly, our point is to have him disappear kind of without any sort of notice. So I'm really wanting to go and check like their lifeboats and see, just walking through how easy it is to get one of their lifeboats out of here. taking a look to see just to get the once over on it,
Yeah.
because I'll need to cut its tracker probably if we run with it. But
I think it's pretty easy to find something. I think it's a risk roll to get it set up so that you take it offline. It falls out from the registry so that you can use that.
alrighty. So let's see. That is a risk roll. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be rolling that with, let's see. I imagine fear is what this is based on. So, rolling with fear. It's a 7.
That is a 7. So I think you will be able to get one of these skiff boats off of the like registry, so you can kind of make it vanish. But I think you're doing this by going through systems and things like that, and you're pretty communication with the ship and things like that, and I think you will pick up. There's a little more of what we might call weaponry traces dispersed, hidden away, but you realize normally there'd be, the minor stuff you might expect, some security and things like that, but there's clearly some other weaponry and defenses active here on the ship.
Okay, so the ship itself is better armed.
No, it's that people here have weapons.
Oh, I see. So they've either slid through or have got permits. People here are pretty damn well armed.
Yeah, or at least one group of people here is pretty damn well armed. You're not sure exactly who.
All right, I will drop that information back into our communications hub. Be on the lookout. I'm showing that at least some of these passengers are very well armed.
And we're going to take our break. We'll go to a quarter after, and then we'll come back, check in, and do a little more hunting.
gotten to where I have to wave at my camera before it'll click on. Used to never do that, but now I'm like, before it'll get my little light. I don't want to. We've got a second or two before it breaks
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
I'm having something that I sort of might should wait till wishes. I have thought about Xing.
Sure.
I think the confluence is not doing quite what it's supposed to.
Oh, how so?
Because I don't want to limit like people talking to AIs. You know, it feels like people would be able to do anything that they could with AIs. So it feels like the confluence is a different thing. Like when I talk to a vehicle, I'm not sure. This is why I almost was with. Is it like when people, you know, talk to their car? They're like, "Come on, baby, let's go a little faster," or "You can make it. This little bit of gas I've got." Or is it?
Here's what I imagine is when any other person goes to talk to this ship goes fly, move.
So
fire.
it opens up what
It opens
what
up its
happens
like you open up its possibilities. If we were talking about a high level AI, which we kind of have made those very kind of a little bit rare, like those anybody could interact with, but you might have an edge with. But I imagine for anything like that ship, anybody else going and talking to it, you'd be like, oh yeah, I go and talk. He's great to talk to. He's really funny. And they're like, what are you even talking about?
Gotcha. Okay, that clarifies it a
Yeah.
lot more for me. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Because again, I didn't want to limit what other people could do, but I wanted to make sure the move itself was getting its kind of point.
No, and I think that's a really good observation to kind of lay out. But I do picture it as you operate with it on a whole different level of consciousness.
Excellent. That was a perfect clarification. Thank you so much.
So should we do another once around, or should we have the group chatter? Sherry, once around. So Annalise,
we can chatter.
Okay.
We can chatter.
Okay. Then why don't you start chattering?
Okay. I'll go, something's up. This ride is heavily themed. We got to figure out if it's themed just for this group or if these relationships, where does it come from?
What sort of themes are you talking about?
Romeo and Juliet.
The story, the old story.
Mm-hmm. Romeo Montague, Juliet Capulet.
So are you saying that's not their real names?
And she kind of looks and says, no one has real names anymore. They are, who they've made themselves.
Huh.
It's just, I don't know if Romero set this up this way. It's going to go.
It's very.
I'm trying to go under and figure out which layers of the onion are.
It's very
useful.
possible that Romeo and Juliet themselves were all reborn, and their memories were used to recreate this place. And this is just entertainment for the one that we call Romero and the one that we call, you know, the Monts and the Couples and all that. So yeah.
How does this thing end? If I remember correctly, it'd make more sense why old Romero wants to leave.
Yeah, it would, especially if he wants to take Juliet with him.
Huh.
I was just saying that so that we're prepared to take another person on.
Because doesn't it end with them meeting an idiot monk?
I think they'll end up dead. Yeah.
Ooh, what if one of us is the idiot monk and steps into place to, you know, facilitate whatever is going to happen?
That's pretty clever, but there might already be one, so we better check the roster here.
Yeah, let's look for them. And so tell me what
And
clipping
we
does.
need to find out who Mercutio is.
Can you take their memories and implant them in someone else?
Oh, no. This would have been something that they did. And I don't know if it's just kind of, I don't know at what level this was done. So,
Well, Ghost was asking, can you do that when you clip somebody?
change their stuff?
No, take their stuff and give it to someone else.
Ooh. I've never done a transfer of that stuff. I've just destroyed it.
You need
Well,
a lot.
Because
Yeah.
you'd have to hold on to the residue and do something with
Exactly.
it, which
She
is
goes, no. That's dicey. And she'll sort of stop and go, you don't know what you're overriding when you do that. You just don't want to get in the middle of it.
Well, I found us a thing we could get him out with. I don't know what he's bringing, but we could put him in a lifeboat. I could cut the signal. It'll just float them all off to wherever.
Yeah, but that won't vanish them. They'll be able to explain that. That might be how we exit them initially, but then we have to pick them up and whisk them further away, right?
Well, I mean, if these people are playing through a story,
That's
what's
what I
prevent
need
them
to
from playing
know.
through the story? Yeah, I mean, the best way would be if they complete their story and they think nothing's any different. And if Romero has his part to play, then if someone is taking that part on, then they don't know he's gone.
Well, we could certainly make something that looked like dead bodies for the two of them and have those ready to use.
Can you?
Well, I mean, I could play Romero's part.
But
Well,
then you'll be dead.
I would really be dead. Hopefully, I'm not going to drink poison.
well,
Stab myself.
Do we think, Forte, this seems kind of crazy. Is there a real person who's Romero? Because if so, this sounds like some sort of death ritual, right?
She sort of stops and she goes, one, real person Romero is a really questionable set of words all right, but let us say that there is a real person Romero and he is part of this play thing, which is a family feud, set of two families, essentially hostile to each other. You said something about weapons. So in fact, there might be a set of it. Don't know if both sides have it or not, but something's going to go down. And this is the question. Is this elaborate role playing? Or did they set this up with a sense of humor and this is how they're messaging what kind of exit they're going to try to make? There's going to be a fight and they're going to try to exit. For all we know, he's clever enough to be messaging us with that.
well, and part of the question is this Romero's choice or is someone forcing him into this part?
Yeah.
I really don't think Romero wants to be here. I think he would have run already if it weren't for those two that are babysitting him.
Interesting.
I will admit, I have never read the source material. I was supposed to, but it was a busy week. So I can't say whether Romeo was, how should we say, if he had bodyguards as well. But I do remember he ran with a set of thuggish friends.
But you say these are keeping an eye on him, right, Vic?
Yeah, like I think they watch him when he goes to the bathroom and whatnot. He seems to want to just get a free moment away from them.
I think we still have to make contact is our first thing. And apparently to do that and get information, we're going to have to separate him from those two. Right?
Oh, could you bring him here? I mean,
Bring him
into
here.
our little
Go
space?
and fight him?
If I can get close enough to him, I should be able to get a moment out of the bodyguard's eye to have a little conversation.
risky but possible.
Well, until we talk to him, we don't know what we're dealing with. It could be him wanting to get the hell out of Dodge or elope with his lady love. We don't know the situation, and we need to find that out.
Understood. I'm just going to be looking in to see if this facade on the ship is a standard one, or if this has just been placed for this particular cruise.
Give me some information. Tell me when you find a spot where you think you could start delving into that. I'll see if I can get you a little help with that.
All right. You're muted, Lou.
So let's start with Vic, and then let's move to Annalise. Does that seem like a fair? Vic, you wanted to try and get close to be able to
Yeah,
pull
I've-
Romero into this.
I've got my, sort of will pass for cruise uniform look going on. So I need to find a bottle of something expensive and then just stumble in through his door.
Let's have you roll risk.
All right. Let's see.
What are you rolling this with?
Yeah. I think this is gonna be Joy. She's still taking
Absolutely.
this as this is the vacation cruise, and so like she's coming in here to deliver this bottle of whatever she's found, but it's obviously the wrong room. So she'll list off the wrong name, but she'll be like smiling and sort of winking at Romero between the bodyguards and talking about how they just never get the humidity right in these rooms, and it's just so hot as she like shrugs out of the uniform jacket that she has on.
Perfect. Let's have you roll that and put a mark on Joy. What's that? The third box on that?
Is it? That's wow. I guess yeah.
Interesting.
That's 1, 2, 3
Okay,
boxes.
just checking.
And we're going with risk. Things spinning, rolling. That's an 8.
That is an 8. So I think that you will be able to get up close and essentially draw him into your web, as it were.
And I definitely want to, capture his attention and exclude specifically the bodyguard's attention. Because I'm imagining, like, even in their watchdogging on him, this is a pleasure cruise, and they recognize the, like, we're going to make flirty eyes at the waitress sort of moment. They give Romero his space.
Here's the thing. Yeah, you get him into your lobby, but you'll notice that there's an extra person in your lobby with no ID.
Oh.
And that's not that hard to kind of turn off your IDs for things like that, but you will realize that there is somebody else who has drifted into your lobby somehow. Does that seem like a fair complication?
Like a blank outline sort of figure? Or?
Yeah, if somebody who is clearly deliberately,
maybe someone like formed of the cloud stuff that's sort of the floor here.
I think more that might be how they envisage to you, but I think it is more likely that it's like when somebody calls you on the phone and you get unavailable. They've turned off the ping.
Gotcha.
Maybe they are just wandered in. Maybe they know something. You're not sure, but you've definitely got Romero in your network. We'll come back to that in a moment. We come to Annalise. Annalise, what are you up to?
So I think that so we need to find out what's going on.
Mhm.
And Vic's going to easily be able to talk to Romero
Right.
and figure out what his perspective is. But I think the other two are going to be checking out the program associated with it. I think I want to check out the program. I want to check out the other players, specifically to see if I can line up the other participants in this cruise to roles within the potential storyline, just to see if it lines up with a guest that we have. So specifically, I would be looking for, I think someone mentioned the Mercutio character, and I'd be looking for the priest character, and just different things like that.
Let's have you make, I think this is Lift the Veil.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you want to roll that with?
I was originally thinking fear. Um,
Fear would let
It
you
does-
clear your power tick.
oh, is that how that works?
Yep. So essentially, if you did fear, you would clear the tick. You put tick on fear and clear the one you have on power.
So I think in this case, I'm a little bit, I was originally thinking fear because I'd be afraid of getting caught.
Mhm.
But just like Forte mentioned, there's a little bit of curiosity here. And I really like the idea of stories repeating themselves and memories coming back. And I think that curiosity is what's going to play. That was joy. Is that right?
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to roll with joy then. And for the
Exactly.
curiosity of, these repeating memories. And I rolled a 4 plus 1 is a 5.
It's a 5.
Yeah.
So I think you are poking around, kind of drifting close by, checking these things out. And particularly, you're like, okay, we've got this Jules, this Capel family. They're kind of on the outside. And I think that you drift maybe where you're not supposed to be. And I think there is this moment when you kind of like, these people are talking conspiratorially. You kind of move to kind of maybe get an eye on them. These are just some of the people from the Capel family. And there's this moment when they step back and you see they've got a table filled with needlers and dart throwers and poison launchers. And one of them looks and sees you. And there's that moment where you freeze, they freeze, because they've got a table full of weapons there. And you can see what's going through their mind is, okay, we need to kill this person. What do you do?
Oh, I run.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I think you actually have a move for this.
So I have parkour. Yeah. So I think parkour is the run.
So yeah, you're up in sort of the fancy Venetian area. One of these things, got balconies and drapes and all of this kind of thing. And there's that pause, and then they're grabbing up their little needlers at you, and you take off. Let's have you make that roll.
Yes, and I'm going to roll this with fear.
That does make sense.
So I uncheck power and I check fear.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, and that is a +1. And I rolled a 9, +1 is 10.
Perfect. So what do you want?
So let's escape the enemy and avoid all harm. Leave no trail or trace so they can't come after me. And I get one more. Ooh. I'm going to change, reorganize, or manipulate the environment to their detriment. And
Okay.
I think if that's okay, I think as I'm running away, the thing that actually lets me get away is they run into some of the normal servitors here.
Mm-hmm.
So normal servitors see that they have weapons, maybe confiscate it, slow them down just enough, and then they have to kind of buy their way out of it.
Yeah, there is that thing where the shop, they have to palm stuff, they have to drop it in disposals, that kind of thing, and the security, and you're gone. They don't even see where you went. They don't know who you were. They don't know what was going on with that. But they back off real quick. Like they clearly don't want anybody. They don't want any attention on what has just happened. And so describe to me what the parkouring looks though as you zotch out of there.
Yeah, I imagine it looks a lot sort of like what we see in the Matrix. So we see this very, baroque, curtains and entryways and ornate doorways. And I think Annalise, as she goes to leave, is like literally walking along the edge of the wall and jumping from space to space in ways that you really shouldn't be able to. And I think that's what actually allows her to get away is, she's able to kind of round the corner, see the authorities, and slip across, kind of crawl across the ceiling, on fingertip as they round the corner and are stopped, and nobody looks up to see that she's slipping away.
And yeah, and you're gone. I believe it was Wraith and Fort that wanted to do something next, right?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of get a sense of this this Venice Romeo Juliet setting and when it was set down. Whether this is an ongoing thing and they just do this over and over again, or like when this was placed.
That's lift the veil.
Lift the veil. I'll just keep re-rolling it. I think. Trying to think what's the best way to do this. At this point, I'm kind of just in my zone. This is what figuring out what's going on in a place as I get ready and prepped. So that would be the mundanity of it all. It's not even fun or challenging yet. Maybe sad. You got to do all this work to get everything ready. There,
Okay.
I'll do that. All right. Okay, so I'm rolling the dice and adding 2. So rolled a 10, I add 2, I have 12.
You will see that while this is in the sort of the catalog of veil things that could be here, that it was clearly set into motion and set into place a few weeks ago before all this went on. On the orders of the system AI. Like command from the system AI reach down and change things down here.
Okay. All right. That's fun. Of course, this is a horrible place to try to access the system AI from. But okay, so someone set this up, and we just don't know who. But
Oh, no.
no, we do know. Oh, I can tell.
The system, nobody tells the system AI what to do.
Oh, really? No
The
one puts
system
like
AI
requests through?
system AI manages the system.
Oh, so there's no way to put requests through to the system?
You could.
I mean, if you were high up in the corporate world or something?
You could essentially we go up into sort of the whole managerial bureaucracy and things. You
Isn't
couldn't
that who
ask
these
for
people
something
are?
like this.
You couldn't. Oh. Huh. That's weird. But maybe Will's a more interesting person than I thought. Wow. That's a little bit weird. Okay. So just a little while ago, I'm going to ask then, I just get one question? Is this what it is?
So lift the veil, you get a question or two.
Okay. I'm going to ask about the clothing. Is that code bad for a purpose? Is there something else hidden in it?
That's a really interesting question.
Because there's all that processing going into it.
I think you will realize that a good deal of what's going on with the processing there is that clothing is also acting as a recording and capture device. Like those clothings and things are capturing in full detail everything that's happening around them in the ship in sort of HD 4K high end stuff. Like those that set of clothing is being used as a camera.
That's pretty funny. Okay, so I guess one of my questions is, can I set it up so that when the time comes, I can use that code also, though, to cut down on any harm that we might take? I mean, it's heavy code with a lot of process, but there's no reason I couldn't add a lot of physical weight to it. And like everyone who's wearing that just slows way down.
I think you could make a roll to do that. Yes.
Yes, I have the skill.
Okay.
So there are no spoons.
Right. Wraith, you get this information from Forte.
That is interesting. And so system admin is
It's the AI.
the AI that's Will and is running all of this. And Forte, you're saying that no one put in a request for this. This isn't.
No, I'm saying that it's a high enough request that only system would have access to that. So it would be someone important in the system, or the system just came up with it, but they're filming it. So
This is a hit. I mean, it's basically someone getting stuck in a hit.
It does feel like something is being done to organize a clash here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I would take it as a corporate maneuver, right? So
This is above my pay grade.
Nothing's above your pay grade. Well, I mean, you're not paid for what's above your pay grade, but you can do anything, Rafe.
Well, I still think we're gonna have to keep digging and find out what's up with Romero. But I'm heading up towards the front here and see kind of how it's running. And once I get a good lay of the ship, I can, just everybody keep me informed. I'll help however I can.
Yeah, I think you can absolutely move through the ship. Is there any kind of read or thing you want to do?
Well, what I'm doing as I'm walking through there is I'm having this kind of conversation with Carpe as we go along. And I'm wanting to find out, basically, does Carpe, do they enjoy what's going on here? What is the dreams? What is the thing that Carpe would rather be doing?
Nothing until you showed it the stars.
You'd like to go out there amongst them?
Yes, obviously.
No. I don't see much reason you can't. We could,
I am bound to the ground.
You're currently bound to the ground. Let me look around a little more. And so I'm heading up to the front and wanting to see how it's operated. But I'm also starting to get an inkling of looking around at we're surrounded by heavy machinery,
Yeah,
which means probably pretty heavy lifting devices, things that have I don't know if we do rockets, but I bet you there's orbital grav shield stuff that would be able to do so. So that's sort of in my mind as I'm looking towards the front.
Towards are you looking outside at the
Yeah, I'm scanning our path. If I get up to the bridge, kind of looking over the
Let's have you roll
stuff.
analyze here.
All right. So I think I'm probably interested. I'm feeling peaceful enough at this, just joining in with it. But I will spend one of my confluence to give me a +1. So that'll give me an even roll. All right. And rolling. Probably gonna be terrible. It's a 7. Yeah.
It's a 7. So I think that you will get up and essentially get him into the area where you can kind of see the flight path, and pull up the models of what's going on. And I think you will see that one of the things that they're going to go past is a broken beanstalk, essentially a grav tether, an orbital grav tether that broke, but is still there, and that has a lot of the gravitic units. They're hoping eventually to figure out a way to pull back the broken tether and reattach it and so on. But it goes up to the, one of the atmospheres.
Oh, lovely.
And I'll give you another question then.
What is my best way in? How can I best attach this cruiser to that tether?
You would need to get magnetic boltings, and you'd need to attach them to the side of this ship, and then have the ship run up against that.
And then it up.
Hopefully, it would get up with enough force and things to hit escape velocity. Now, keep in mind, this is a ship that's made certainly to deal with traveling through some desperate climbs here, but it is not space worthy.
Maybe if they want a disaster film instead of Romeo and Juliet, we get Titanic.
Or Poseidon Adventure, one of those. There's a whole set of those that we could be playing out. Vic, you've got Romero in your lobby.
And I think, continuing just like almost mirroring what's happening in the real world to have a bottle of like a swirling blue and purple alcohol that I pour out glasses for each of us. And as I push his over, I say, Romero, right?
Yes. Did the Frau? Are you're part of the team?
Tell your secret.
Sure. Just give me he asked you for the whatever code you've been given to confirm identity.
And I don't give it to him yet.
So he gets real nervous when you don't give him the countersign right away.
I'll say, I have actually been in love before. I mean, not like fleeting every day, let's go on a third date sort of love. I mean, like soul burning, life changing sort of love. Sort of love that would make you jump off of a building or try to go flying. The sort of love that you would follow anywhere and through anything. It haunts me so much. It's what I wake up to sometimes, just dazing in a in the afternoon. Think that I'm right there, that I can feel someone's hand, but every time I look, it's like I can't even see their face. Do you know what that's like? Being haunted by a love you can't understand.
Are you speaking the truth, Vic? Or are you lying? So you are haunted by a love?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the details of that love? Or is that one of the questions that you have about yourself?
I don't remember the details of it. I just remember these flashes, these bits of it. It was tied into that initial fragment of memory of falling.
Excellent. So he'll say, and it kind of breaks through. He says, I understand what it's like to know and to remember and to recall, have these feelings and be unable to do anything. That's why I need you to get me and my love out of here.
Tell me about your love.
Pardon?
Your love. Tell me about them.
And he tells you about clandestine meetings, moonlit nights. It's all very romantic, super romanticized.
I tell you what, Romero, what if I could buy you some time?
What do you mean? I just want out. You need to get me out. That's what I'm paying for.
But if you want to bring someone else with you, you need to convince them to come.
Oh, they know. They're ready. They're ready to go. I just need you to get me and her out.
It's not the way love works, Vic. You don't send people to take care of... Oh, sorry, Romero. You don't send people to take care of it for you. Passion is something you have to go and follow yourself.
And you see him kind of pull back, and he's like, and he gets, he's like, you're a servant, and you have been hired, and this is a job, and you will extract me, and you will extract my love, get us out of here, and then you will be paid.
No, see, that's what you're not understanding. We were hired to extract you, and only you.
You were hired.
Emotions aside.
He says, you were hired to come here, extract me, and I would tell you what else was entailed with the task.
I'm telling you, if this is love, what's entailed with this task, she's got to come of her own free will.
And I'm telling you, she will. Now, what is the plan?
Well, the plan is I take your place here while you slip off. You go get her. And when everything's ready, I'll something.
She's got people covering her. I need you guys to get her away from them.
It really doesn't seem like you're invested in this relationship like I feel like you should.
I've invested the money that I'm paying you to do your job. And you can see he is an arrogant, upper class, noble of one of these corporate families. And you see all of that kind of coming out. And you dislike him intensely.
She'll reach across and pat him on the shoulder and say, it's all right. It's all right. You had your chance, but you sit here with these guys. I'm sure we'll figure out the plan real quick. Just don't worry about anything. And watch out, don't spill your drink, she says as she cuts the lobby and puts her jacket back on as she begins like gathering up the bottle and the tray to head out of the room.
And I think back in the real world where he's kind of been a little bit distracted, there is that bit where he spills the drink on his own clothing, where he was holding like in sort of reflexive way and looks around, like gets red-faced with anger, and then gestures to bodyguards going back to his room, and he has to get changed. He can't go out like this.
I'll pass by the sort of like chessboard in the lobby and catch the other's attention, saying, I don't think I like him very much.
And if you don't mind, I think Annalise is there. And Annalise says, they are loaded for bear. They have so many weapons. This is all an out war.
Do we have enough resources to get 2 people out of this?
I have an idea for a bit of a distraction that should put pretty much everyone on the ship on a back heel.
Ooh, let's see distractions.
I just need to make a phone call or two, see if I can set something up.
You're on mute. Lowell.
And no one questions you, Wraith.
So yeah, I'm wanting to trigger proxy. I'm going to try and get in touch with someone there, in the terraforming. Basically, I'm trying to find someone low end in their supply chain, and we're working on this beanstalk. I've got a crew coming in. I'm telling you, it's about time to get it all linked in. I need some mags. I can transfer cred over, but you need to send them. I need them fast.
How much cred are you investing in this proxy?
I'll stick 2 of my cred into it because I want to help. I want to help Carpe see the stars.
Let's have you roll.
Let's roll. That's a 7. Good choice of cred.
Oh yeah, we can get that there, get that all attached to the thing. Yeah, we'll have that ready for you. We got some of them that'll work. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, buddy.
Absolutely, man. We got that right up there for you, man.
And I will kind of step back and Carpe wants to get away from the ground, so I'm thinking straight up. And I will imprint into our room, kind of. We see the cartoon.
Can I ask a question? Is that figure still here?
Oh, okay. Yes, I suppose I saw a figure in our little room.
No, Vic is the one who spotted this.
Oh.
Yeah, you must be making things up. No, I kicked Romero out of here, so it's probably safe now.
Is there a figure that I don't know if you still see a figure. So we don't know that, as I explained what I think I'm planning on doing.
So basically, the plan is you're going to ride along, get up close, divert the ship over by this mass launcher beanstalk, have it attach, and fire you up in orbit. And there's a chance that you'll be able to hit orbital velocity.
Well, and I think, if I may amend this plan a little bit, Rafe, I think that as soon as this starts to happen, everyone on board the ship will head for the lifeboats.
That seems likely.
And we have a good reason. We just need to tell Romero and his guest which lifeboat they need to get on, and then we can extract, them with our ship, and their lifeboat crashes or something. That sounds great. Let's do this.
I'm all for it. Now, if we want to stage the extraction before this happens, I understand, but I think that works. And Carpe really doesn't like being stuck here on the planet. It just sucks. It's the same thing over and over again.
It'd be a little bit more under our control if we were to extract them prior, but this is a pretty grand plan, Rafe. I'm sure we'll make an impression.
Nothing like this has ever been done before. It will be glorious.
Vic?
This sounds like a lot. Doesn't someone own the train?
Why do you keep calling this a train?
It's a ship.
Is it not a train?
It's like a cruise liner.
Misunderstanding then.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But
Yes, someone owns this ship. Probably a conglomerate.
Okay.
You're suggesting maybe that they're not going to like this.
If it could be traced back to us, we'll be paying quite a bit. Like whole new lives.
It would be well, I mean, I imagine that they may not be delighted, but it shouldn't do anything except give them a better view.
If you think the Carpe Diem will survive it and that they'll get some good footage out of it, might be a boon.
Does Carpe think that they'll survive getting up there?
Carpe has no idea.
Hmm.
As I said, it is not a spaceship. Essentially, it is a high-end cruise liner with some reinforcement for environments.
Well, see, I don't want to hurt it to give it its dreams.
Well, then the thing to do is to reprogram it so that its environmental controls will take it up into the atmosphere and it can be up there for a while before it has to come down. So you need to engineer it. I assume you have some of those basic skills.
More like a ride, a chance to get up and see, and then come back down.
Exactly.
And it does seem like everyone will freak the fuck out when that happens.
Sounds distracting.
So it seems like let's just take a 5-minute break.
So Vic, what was it that Romero wanted?
Right. Does anybody know who his true and apparently very tolerant love is? I may have gotten too annoyed to check.
Yeah, it's Jules Capel.
That makes sense. He mostly wants to sit in comfort drinking until we, I'm not sure, tie a rope to him and whisk him away magically, and also her.
All right. But are they supposed to be dead afterwards, like assumed dead, or are they supposed to just get away for some time?
He didn't say.
And you didn't ask.
Seemed like a
Okay.
jerk.
I asked a lot of questions about important matters. That may not have been one of them.
All right.
You know, the marching orders that you were given before was to have him vanish.
So many kinds of vanishing. But yes, I will assume the might be alive kind of vanishing.
Let's take 5. When we come back, we'll look at Wraith's fixing the ship, and the 3 of you figuring out how to get people into the proper places when the tidal wave comes. Okay.
So, just for background,
Sure.
how much of a presence is Will on this ship?
Supposedly not any, because the system AI maintains the veil for the system, manages distributions and allocations of resources, is kind of the sort of final end thing that keeps the system running.
And yet we've definitely interfaced. I mean, Will's definitely here.
Will has definitely done something here.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a fan. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, but I just want to
There-
know.
There probably have always been rumors that the AIs do things behind the scenes to keep the trains running on time.
Okay.
But this doesn't seem exactly like that, or there's some dimension you don't understand.
It's almost like Will is an auteur in some ways.
So we'll come to Tyler's environmental controls operations here in just a moment. But Annalise, Vic Forte, God damn it. What is your next step? You need to get this guy isolated, or you need to keep an eye on him, or you need to let him burn, depending on how you feel about things. What is the next thing you need to do?
So it should be able to run the patterns of their IDs through to see like when they're the closest in vicinity, to see if we could get any kind of schedule to that.
In vicinity to one another?
Each other, yeah, that's going to be the easiest way, or in vicinity with only their two guards or whatever, or not in vicinity of each other, but they're most isolated from others.
There is a large collective gala ball. I do these regularly, but there's another one coming up here, and that's probably the next time when potentially their paths could physically cross.
So we could switch someone in for one or the other of them at a point, grab them, and then switch someone in for the other one and grab them. Something like that. And I don't know. Does that seem like something you could do, Vic, or do you want to do it some other way? It would be a chance for fun costumes.
I could potentially sub in for Jules. I don't know if I want to be Romero.
So maybe we could look at seeing if we could take the places of the bodyguards for Romero then. I think we could probably, I mean, it would be a less elaborate thing than Vic could do, but it's not like people look at the bodyguards. They just note that they're there.
Yeah.
I'm happy to, how should we say, study up one of these bodyguards and do what I have to become him. Or Rafe, Annalise, you two could do it, and I could clip the bodyguards.
Oof. Because I'm basically figuring I'm just providing the big distraction for y'all to make the switch. I mean, there's a lot of bells and whistles with the big thingy I'm doing, but it's really just a distraction.
Okay.
Well, Ghost, do you think this is going to go smoother if we try and bait and switch to get Romero out, or if we just take out the bodyguards and run?
So it's difficult. I can usually sneak in but I'm not sure how good I can sneak Romero out. That's risky. So I might be able to sneak Romero out without having to clip the bodyguards, but if I don't do a great job, maybe then it turns to violence, and Forte has to clip them.
Well, and maybe anyone else who witnesses it.
Hmm.
That's the thing. And I guess I could do a, you know,
That seems like a reasonable way to do it. So I think we've got two pieces of setup. One is Wraith Engineering, and the other is Vic. I assume you need to get at least one interaction with her before this, or do you think you can do that on the fly during the ball?
No, I need at least a few minutes with her to change over and
Okay.
become a convincing copy.
Then let's start with Wraith, and then we'll come to how you're going to talk with Jules.
Okay. I'm, wanting to make the timing work for what everybody else is doing in this.
The most important thing right now is your intent right now, more importantly, is getting the ship so that it is not going to catch fire, explode,
Yes,
and
yes,
fall
yes.
apart when
Yes.
you launch this cruise liner into suborbit. Does that seem right?
That seems right.
Then, well, this isn't an imminent danger, but it will eventually be an imminent danger, but let's
It
have you
makes
roll
sense.
risk.
All right. I'll spend that last point because I am working with the vessel
Mm-hmm.
for sure here to give me a +1. I'll leave Carpe on there for now, but no hold left. And I am definitely feeling joy about doing this. I am helping
Your
Carpe so much.
crewmates agreed. They didn't really question you on
I am kind of shocked
on this insane plan.
So I'm rolling. We can do this, girl. That's a 9.
That is a 9.
Don't
So
suppose anybody has any thoughts or
yeah, I was going to say, can I
suggestions?
assist in any way?
yeah, let's have you, how are you assisting, and then you have to roll.
Let's see here. Well, could I do a version of There Is No Spoon? I have the ability to set up the veil to cut down on possibility of damage.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll allow it, he
All
said.
right. Thank you, Lowell. All right. Let's see here. Sorry. So I guess I would use fear, just because I really, wow, there's a lot going on here.
Let's have you roll.
Okay. And this is a help roll, right?
Yeah.
So 2d6 plus whatever I roll.
Yeah.
So it's a 7.
That is a 7. Well, that pushes it up to a 10, which means that there isn't any cost to what Tyler is doing, what Wraith is doing.
And can we just say that essentially the changes that I make is that essentially proper emergency lighting and all that stuff and messaging will come on to direct people to the lifeboats and all that stuff, and
Yeah, I think
give them the
that's
thing
fair.
that it's all very much like I up the safety protocols on the ship.
Okay.
I have to
Bazillion
think
percent.
that Will is going to have to be forced to compensate because people aren't going. We're in the veil still, so they're not going to fall, but that's going to way overtax that computing system. And of course, it is heading up, so people will want to get off of it.
Yeah, you don't know what the reaction is, but Ford is setting it up so the veil is not going to collapse, and is not going to short out here.
Good show. Thank you for it.
Vic, Where do you come across Jules in that time before the ball that evening?
I
She's
think
certainly
maybe like
less watched over than Romero is.
mhm. I think maybe like a very fancy bathroom sort of area,
Absolutely.
mirrors and sinks.
She's running the computer program to adjust her makeup and check that, and is running through several of those phases and things. How do you make this approach?
Um, so I think she'll come up to the mirror sort of next to Jules there, and she's leaning in and sort of like refixing and touching up her hair. She sort of looks at Jules in the mirror. She'll say, "So, what do you think of it all here? This sort of manufactured romance?"
Do you mean the way things are presented? I don't understand what you mean.
I mean the parts everyone's to play, the sort of layout of dream and imagination versus the tourism of the real world outside.
She looks at you, maybe narrows her eyes. It's useful.
And has it worked? The romance, the ambience.
She shrugs her shoulders a little bit. We'll see. There's still time left.
You know, and she'll say whatever the code phrase is. The feelings have to be real for it to last.
She looks at you like she doesn't understand why you said the code phrase.
What I'm asking is, do you feel the feelings deeply?
Of what?
Connection with Romero, with emotion.
And and when you mentioned, Romero, yes. Oh, I adore Romero.
I'm sorry, I should have said he sent me to make sure that you're in the right place for the surprise tonight.
What is the surprise?
If I told you, it wouldn't be a surprise.
All right. She looks a little quizzical. You have the sense that she's not fully informed on all of this, what exactly is going on.
Look, I wouldn't want to step beyond myself and ruin anything that he has planned, but you just need to be. She'll sort of like draw in some of the condensation on the mirror. You know, the big intersection where the two halls come together in the sort of X.
Ah, all right.
Just make sure you're there. About 10 minutes.
Excellent.
Should be a memorable ride.
Do you want to roll your reflection now?
Sure. I honestly think this is sad. She is not happy with these people. They've set up this magical love-based tourism to go see disasters and things, and neither of them seems to be properly emotionally invested. None of them want to play a long ride. It's all very frustrating and disappointing. Oh dear, that's 6.
Sorry, what?
I said, oh dear, that's 6.
Mhm.
So which one do you want?
Let's see, on the 6, I choose one. I look and sound just like her, passing for her under close scrutiny.
Okay. So do you take a harm, like a mark of harm physical, or are you going to mark that humanity harm, which can cause you to lose time and disorientation and have a flashback and all of those things?
Yeah, where's humanity harm? Do we have it listed on here?
Basically, humanity harm doesn't actually, it's also called soul harm. It doesn't get marked, but instead you choose
Isn't
that
there
you
like a list of things to choose from?
Yep. Lose time, trigger the flashback move, add emotion, another spike to a state, or take disadvantage forward.
I think lose time, as she's meaning to, like, the plan is that she's going to change to look like her. She's going to tell her that, like, okay, I'm going to go out first and be seen, and then you sneak out behind me. But as she shifts and starts to change, she just gets caught staring at herself in the mirror.
And I think you do. And I think like when you make that change, I think she steps back. And I don't think you see this, but I think we do see like her hand pulls back and we see the subdermal poison tip needles on her fingers. And the sort of the dermal knife she has up her sleeve kind of pop up for a second and then they go back. And then this assassin straightens up her outfit and gets ready to head out.
Useless socialites.
So we're going to cut forward a little bit. The ball is going to happen. The music, that is the feast of life is played, and everyone has masks that they hold in a sort of Venetian style, but there's a certain amount of the different families kind of moving around each other, like eyeing, they go over to the buffets and stuff, and there's clearly a lot of tension in the air. There are some people from across the different families talking, but it's like a certain amount of disgruntlement has built up over this time where they've been together on this cruise over the last few days. In the distance, you can see that beanstalk coming up through the beautiful windows that are on the side of this. Annalise, you're moving through the crowd like a ghost. I assume Fort is shadowing you. And you're going to try and deal with these bodyguards. So how is that going to work?
So I think the way that's going to work is I'm going to try and do my best in order to quietly slip Romero out from the bodyguards. And
this seems reasonable.
I have to roll really well to do that. And if I don't, I think the backup plan is Forte will clip them.
Okay.
That sound right?
Choose a.
Yeah, I will neutralize them.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay. I will only clip them if that's the only way I get out of there.
Okay.
So you choose a point at which they're moving sort of at the back part, a more shadowy part of the ball. He's clearly looking around for Jules, desperately pining for her, hoping that this goes well. Still probably a little bit angry about that very that hireling who kind of spoke back to him earlier today. So this is divert.
Would this be divert or would this be my ghost move?
Ooh, I like that. Tell me about this ghost move.
So I have a ghost move that I can use stealth to conceal myself and potentially take other people with me
Oh,
if I
that's
roll well.
so much better. That's
Yeah.
so much better.
And I think I'm excited about this. And I looked at the feelings wheel and the emotional wheel, and I think that's joyful. So I'm going to mark joyful. That's my third tick on joyful. And I'm going to roll with that. Oh, I rolled snake eyes.
Uh-oh.
So that's a 3.
So that is a 3. So there is that moment when you move up on them and you're completely like one of them doesn't see you at all. But the other one, there's that moment where you're moving up and you see whatever cyber eyes he has suddenly like click, flicker, and run through a cycle of things. And there's that moment where his hand is quick and it shoots out and knifes you. Like you've gotten too close, you're clearly stalking, and puts this stiletto in you for 2 harm.
Okay.
Project neutralize.
And I think you have armor, so you can mark armor to reduce that. Take one of those harm if you want, or you can just take mark the light and a severe.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So I will mark an armor.
Because you've got 1 armor from your dermal thing. So yeah.
I do. So do I click the armor to indicate it's been used?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you click that, hit that, and Fort, you see that like one of the guys is completely looking the other way, while this one, does that sort of swift wired reflexes stab.
Yeah, I'm a little sad about this. A, it's not going well. B, I'm not going to figure out who set this all up because it's pretty funny. So I'm just going to like kind of, get in there and do it quiet and fast and pull him away before the other one notices is the whole hope behind this. So I'm
Let's have
rolling
you roll
neutralize.
neutralize.
Yeah, it was sad. Okay, so rolling 2d6, adding 2. So that's a 9.
That is a 9. Now, Annalise could assist you.
Yeah, let's
I'm-
see how that looks if you're okay with that.
Yeah, no, I would love that because you are all ghosty. So
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna roll with fear because I've been found out. And I'm gonna try to help. Let's see how that looks before I narrate. Oh, that's a 5 total.
All right.
Yeah.
So you get 2 picks, Sherry,
okay,
off of neutralize, and you're going to get hurt.
all right, sounds good. And then off of neutralize. Yikes, sorry. I will take force a change of location for all 2. I think is essentially what it is I'm trying to get
Okay.
that bodyguard away. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. So your intent is not to do harm.
Not at this moment. I'm trying to maintain the quiet so we can grab Romero.
So here's what I think is the cost that to Annalise with that because she's wrapped up, is that the other bodyguard becomes aware of you. But tell me how it is that you, Forte, you push this like group, into another area.
Oh, well, it's the thing is I'm an architect. I just open the wall and shove them into the wall and then close it back up.
Okay. Well,
Does that make any sense?
that makes a sense. You've still got one other guy who's there.
Mhm.
You've got one of these out, but the other guy has moved over to you and essentially does that grabbing you and essentially jabbing you with a knife for 2 harm.
Okay, so that's the 2 harm or an additional 2 harm?
That's the 2 harm.
Okay, all right, just want to make sure. Okay, sounds reasonable.
As this is happening, Vic, you're swapping in for Jules.
Yes.
So what does that look like? Or how are you explaining this to her?
Oh,
Like you've told her to meet you at a certain place. She doesn't understand it. I mean, what is the timing and where should she go when this swap happens? What should she know?
I'm trying to figure out my lost time in
Oh.
this too. I'm not being coy. I'm trying
No.
to figure out what happened with my humanity harm and lost time. in
Oh
this
yeah, I
scenario.
thought you were just staring in the mirror for a few minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, because you get to choose that. The lost time is essentially you can lose minutes, hour, a day. I assume minutes would have been your pick there.
Okay. Then yeah, if she's
Yeah. So
still there,
let me frame up what it looks like to you. The next thing is you blink. You're still staring at yourself in the mirror. She's gone, and you look at your chronometer, and 4 minutes have passed.
and I think she'll like shake her head and shit and like hurry out of the bathroom to go make her way to the party and be seen and be visible and be demanding and rich and emotionless or something. I don't know. Give me a drink. Clack, clack.
You tell her where to go, though?
She's gone.
I want you to roll divert. I think to keep attention and to allow her to get away without being spotted in all of this.
All right. I think this is fear. She doesn't quite know what happened there, and now everything's like 5 minutes behind, and she's worried that the whole thing's going to go off kilter before the whole thing goes off
Right.
kilter. Cool. That's a 4.
That is a 4. You will see as you get out there that she's out there as well.
Oh my God, it is so tacky when you come to the party with something you think is really going to make a splash, and there's someone else there already wearing it.
Don't forget to mark XP with all of these fails.
Oh yeah, I'm up to 5. It's going great here. My plan's
And I
working
think
out.
that you're like, God damn, why is she there? You maybe
I
heard
specifically remember telling her what hallway to go to.
right. And then you hear, I say, that looks like that's getting rather close, wouldn't you say? And you see some people looking out, and you see it through that window thing, like the ship is getting very, very close to this beanstalk thing, and there's some people kind of looking over, like what's going on? And that's when you probably hear the proximity alarms on the ship start thing, and then you'll hear this sound of a giant gravitic magnet click on outside, like, and like everybody's metal in their teeth, and everything starts to vibrate. And then it was like maybe 100 yards away a moment ago, and then shoo, and the ship slams up onto this thing, and you'll hear a doo, 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 like a power buildup thing, and you know what's coming. Where are you when this all happens, Wraith?
Oh, I am most definitely on the bridge. And probably grinning maniacally.
Yeah, the captain, they're freaking out. You know, they're off. They're running. You know, trying to get emergency procedures, trying to get the gravatics in order. And then this thing slams into that, and the power starts to build up, and they are freaking. And you see the captain like take that moment where he realizes exactly what's going on, and he does that. Abandoned ship, and hits the button, and we'll hear the alarm klaxons go off in sequence up and down the vessel as all of the veil starts to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, please head to your evacuation points, please head there, blah 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 blah.
And I'll kind of be backing away towards like a corner, so as they all run out, I'm not attracting attention that I'm staying, but I'm definitely staying.
Okay. Forte and Annalise, you will see as this slam happens, Romero kind of staggers back, and you see him look over, and he sees Jules, and he starts, moving towards her. But this bodyguard is like trying to figure out whether he should grab him or try and stop you two. So Annalise, Forte has just finished her attack. You see this. What do you want to do?
Well, it's not the most elegant thing, but I'm going to pull out a disrupting grenade, and I'm going to drop it there with the guard.
Okay.
To try and at least stun him. I mean, he's a bodyguard, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this would be neutralize.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what would this be? Fear or power? I think this is going to be power, because I think we have the upper hand. I know what's going to happen here. Yeah. Oh, that is a 9 + 2 is 11.
Okay. So you're not going to get hit in the blast radius of the stun grenade. And I assume you want to inflict harm.
To be honest, I don't have a strong.
Which is the stun would be the stun effect.
Yes, this is 5 harm area disrupting. So I think it takes down the
S
veil.
harm, actually. S harm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think. Oh yes, you're right. S harm area disrupting. So I think it takes part of the veil down in this area.
Boom. It hits there. Anybody that's within a radius next to him will also drop. But to all intents and purposes, for people here, it'll feel like something has blown up on the ship because it's crashed into this thing. What other effects do you want? You've got a couple more harm here, a couple more hold to spend here.
Yeah. So I think this will be in order to get away with Romero, would that be force a change of location? Or
absolutely.
Would that be... Okay, so
do you want to help him? He's trying to rush over towards Jules. Do you want to try and take control of his direction, try and grab them both up? Do you want to separate them? What do you want to do?
I want to make sure. So I assume, to be honest, that Jules is actually Vic.
Mm-hmm.
That's the plan. And I'm just going to grab him. The most important thing is to get him and make sure Forte and I get to the lifeboat, the planned lifeboat that we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So rushing down there, Forte, you see that? Annalise drops this guy and a number of the party goers with this stun grenade, grabs onto Romero and starts heading down the assigned paths towards the lifeboats. You'll see Jules there. What do you do?
And I'm like, Vic, which one are you and which one is her? And what's going on? I'm like, oh, you're muted. You can
I'm
see
the-
Forte's kind of gliding towards you, or towards the both of you in the middle.
No. I'm the one waving. Oh, dang it! She waved at the same. I'm the one waving both my arms.
Okay. And I'm like, great. Okay, I'm going to get her. I don't know if I'll be able to get her in the same lifeboat as Romero. Okay. But I'll tag it, whichever one it is.
Okay. Also, I don't really. I'm sorry. I sort of fell behind in the plan. I'm not sure. Which step are we at now?
Okay. So now we're at getting the heck off of here. So let's go. And I said,
And
follow me.
everything, the gravity kind of shifts and you feel that this thing is starting to lift upwards.
I will offer my arm to the Lady Jules and say, I'll take you to your lifeboat.
She'll take your arm. She's clearly pushing to rush to catch up with Romero and Annalise.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, Maya, I need to be with him.
Mm-hmm. Don't worry about it. It's all arranged.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
And she is. As soon as you say that, she is with you in your arms, and moving along. Vic, you will see a couple of these people, like one of the brothers of Jules rushes up, and he says to you, "Where's Romero? We need to follow him. You need to kill him before he gets off this boat."
Oh, he's. I saw him running that way.
Come on.
Pointing the other way.
Okay, and he grabs you and he goes, come on. You've got to get close to him.
Yep. Hold on. Just give me a minute. These shoes, they're not good for running and climbing in.
And he's like, use the A-type neurotoxin. At this point, it really doesn't matter. It looks like the ship's going to go down. We could just leave his body here.
And while I'm fussing with my shoes, I'm desperately trying to reach out to Forte in the lobby space.
Excellent. Actually, Lowell,
Yes.
I can clip a person, right? But I can clip just like some of their memories.
Uh-huh.
I want to clip her, but I want to actually clip the thing that she's an assassin.
Well, that is still a neutralized move to do
It
that.
is. It is to do that. I will agree with you on that.
I will come back to you in just one moment
All right.
because, this ship is launching up into the skies, Tyler. He may have stepped away. I have caught him at exactly the wrong time. Let's come back. Forte.
You did.
Oh, okay.
You did catch me at exactly the wrong time.
Exactly
Sorry.
the wrong time. So you get this through the lobby. Oh yeah, apparently she's an assassin. Okay, I'm gonna try and clip her. She forgets the assassin. I'm going off with her brother Mercury, and I'm over here. And
well, I mean, I'm up front here, so
yeah.
There's not a ton I can do to help them.
Well, I assume that you're going to be trying to maneuver your ships into position for the pickup and stuff.
Right. There was the intent to bring in our
because this gets a little more risky because now we've got this weird orbital thing. We've got the uncertain drop off of these lifeboats and things like that. So I want a risk roll from you.
All righty. Well,
but before you do that, your ship is your sleeve. Effectively, it is a device that you use to fly and pilot.
Oh, okay.
So we're not going to do it now, but I just want to mention that in a flight thing, we would generate sort of random stats. to add on to your thing for it. We're not going to worry about that in this situation. Let's just have a risk roll.
Okay. Boy, what am I going with here? I think I'm feeling like this really is what I live for. So I'm going with power.
Okay.
Come on. A 7. Woo.
7. So you will you can tell that right now the Cry Havoc is trying to catch up and get to it, but part of the problem is there's all these gravatic waves that are coming off of the launcher. The Cry Havoc's like, wow, whatever you got attached to it is like a dirty device, because it is pulling off gravatic and radiation like nobody's business.
Oh, they shouldn't have done that.
And they're trying to kind of catch up. We see cut through the Atmo. You're trying to follow up it behind your. We probably see your vision switch between it and where you're moving on the ship. Annalise, you want to get him to one of these lifeboats?
Yeah, the planned lifeboat that we have with Rafe, this is the one that he had set up so that we can escape, and all the others might divert and take people to safety. This one will divert and take us to our ship.
I think this is a simple risk roll because there are a bunch of incredibly selfish people all rushing for the lifeboats.
Yeah.
Some of them armed.
Yeah. So I think this is probably fear. So I'm going to mark fear and roll. I rolled a 6 plus 1 is 7.
7. So I think that you will get him to one of these lifeboats, shove him in, and let us say that it is pretty clear that you're not going to be tipped. that the surface is, probably bangs his head on the frame, and you kind of shove him in there, and he is absolutely manhandled in this.
Yeah. And I think, we look, there's a little bit of a memory back to Vic, and it was like Vic will like seeing that little bruise across the top of his head. That'll be fine.
Forte, she sees what lifeboat Romero is being put into, and you see her, picking up her pace and rushing to get to that lifeboat. You are muted.
That is the perfect moment of her awareness being down for what I need to do. I am going to neutralize her as an assassin.
Please roll.
Okay. I'm going to go with, I always hate doing this to people, taking their memories and stuff away, but at this point I need everyone to live. So here we go. I'm adding sadness to it. So 2d6 plus 2. That's a 12.
So what does that look like when you do this clipping?
I think what you see is that Forte comes up. She comes up behind her. She puts her hand on sort of the back of her neck where the most common cortical connectors are, and her palm does a scan, connects, and she just goes in there, and it's a very rapid read where she goes, where's your programming? What's your, just like we're programmed with the stuff. She knows exactly where that mission stuff is. And she kind of goes through there and she wipes out this mission.
And there's that bit where because this also inflicts physical harm, where you see her she coughs out blood and staggers forward, and you kind of shove her into that lifeboat.
Right. And the one thing is when you do that, she also shoves someone else who's right by us. So it looks like maybe they were the ones that attacked him, if that makes any sense.
And with that 12, she'll stagger. She falls into Romero's arms. And while she's doesn't remember being an assassin, she also doesn't love this guy.
I know, but at least
so she's like, what the fuck? And then the slams comes down, and we see that light bulb. Vic, you're with this murderous Capel. who is with you, thinks that you're his sister, and are trying to hunt down a guy, but he's also like, we got to do this quick before the ship goes down. What the hell?
And I'm, keeping him leading in front of me, and I want to get well away from, where he might see any of the others or another Jules or Romero or anything. And in a moment of confusion, either like people running through or the ship shaking where he's not looking, I'm just gonna like quick drop all the changes and go back to base me. As I do, I tear off that top, which is sort of like shifted to be a little fancier than the service jacket I had on earlier. And as I do with the White Rabbit, he's one of the people that completely misses me.
You know what? I don't even think I want to have you make that divert roll with that setup. I think we do see it. We see that flash. The clothing is gone. It's an anime spin, like a transform spin, and then you're gone. And he's looking around, and he's so far out, and he's alone. And you see him now kind of turn and start to run for the lifeboats.
And I think we just see like a flash of Vic like running through the digital lobby and stopping for a second at the chessboard just to study like, okay, where's the rest of the team gotten to? And then she runs out of the digital lobby again and back in the real world. She's finding them.
And I think we see the lifeboats launch. I think we see the three of you gather up. You call your own ships up. Wraith, I imagine that we see the launcher from the Cry Havoc catch onto that lifeboat and then come up, so that you can do that leap off. Yeah.
I'm hoping, since we say that the beanstalk's broken, as ship heads up, I think we see me in the bridge laughing maniacally as it goes up. And as we reach top, it's not releasing the clamps. So as the ship kind of pops the end of the beanstalk, it's still holding onto those dirty bags. And then as we see it begin to descend, I'm going to be trying to attempt to cushion its blow coming back down. But it's got its time in free fall, getting its moment. I'm going to try and land it.
That is a risk move. You're at disadvantage because of the earlier setup for the bad materials for this, but let's have you roll.
All right. I'm rolling with joy. Because I am having exactly what my character would consider the most fun. And that gets me close to spiked. All right. Oh, I'll have to roll an extra one. Oh, no, hang on. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Roll. Oh, that is a 5.
I think that you're piloting it, and Forte, Annalise, Vic, you're in your vessels kind of steering away. You see that the Cry Havoc has grabbed onto the lifeboat, but then you see the Cry Havoc turn and open up on this ship that's free falling down to blast the side open to sweep in, Wraith, and grab you.
Yeah.
It doesn't carry, it tears out the side of this liner because it doesn't care about that. All it cares about is you.
Oh.
And we'll worry about the harm later, but I think there is that bit of you grabbing on as you see that ship. It's not destroyed, but it comes down hard. And it says, thank you. And I think that's where we're going to end this session for tonight, right on the hour. I wouldn't mind just a couple minutes of stars and wishes. Let's talk about questions next time because I did run long. But we'll start out with some discussion of that. So in the meantime, everybody may mark 3XP, the 3XP that you would get for questions. So this was a little more action oriented. We did a mission. You know, the Veil is often about a little more playing around stuff, but we got that, and it kind of got us a chance to see different people's arrangements. So I feel it's a pretty good prologue. Tyler, let me start with you for stars and wishes.
Well, I had a ton of fun. I hope I wasn't a horrible chaos monkey, but I basically stole.
After my Tuesday game, there are no more chaos monkeys. I've seen 3 chaos monkeys go to town all at once.
I basically stole a Cowboy Bebop episode, Gateway Shuffle, and went with this idea. Okay, I'm going to make the distraction. They are way better capable of doing the extraction. I'll just make the distraction and have it be huge. So I really enjoyed watching everyone else go through their stuff and just connecting with the ship and making a big nasty distraction. So I appreciate folks being kind with me being pretty out there helping this ship. Star 2, each character showed really interesting stuff. I liked seeing Forte have to get in there and actually fight. Seeing that hit at the end was neat, but even when we were there with the bodyguards and Annalise and them, you know, looking at this as this is really a dangerous thing, that was cool to see. Loved Vic in the bathroom. I loved Vic dealing with Romero. Romero was such a dick. It was role you put out some, you know, we're taking care of someone who was so unpleasant. It was overall this cool. I still don't completely understand the mechanics of what was trying to happen to these people other than we were killing this guy, but the whole stage management of it was wild and constantly a question, and that was super fun. For wishes, oh my gracious, I want to keep seeing high adventure. I do want a chance to be in ships doing stuff.
Okay.
Or our ship doing stuff.
In your ship, yeah, that makes sense. Patrick.
This was weird and cool. I enjoyed all the like different layers of reality and secrecy and conspiracy going on all over the place. And we're just a very strange crew. I like the like development of the personal space. I thought that was really neat. Wishes, I don't know, like you said, this one was very like action oriented. I wouldn't mind a slower pace. I wouldn't have minded a slower pace with this one, I think, because like, to be honest, I still don't really have much of a clue of what was going on most of the time.
I think that's fair. Yeah. It was nice. I enjoyed the character scenes that we did get with you, with the interactions there, and the chance to see how you do your replicating was I was really glad to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen, stars, wishes?
So I wrote down a couple of things. I'm not sure that they're pertinent as far as
Sure.
wishes. One was at the very beginning, the trace was hard to get. In order for me to use my, is it track move? Tracer move.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we pretty much had met Romero, there was no reason to do it. It was kind of redundant at that point. So that seems like a weird move that I haven't gotten the feel for yet.
Yeah, the question is, it says when you assimilate a trace of something you wish
Right.
to find with your amplified senses. So, I mean, it does suggest that you need to have something, but I think we can negotiate about what exactly that is.
Well, it's one of those things, if you have a trace of something, do you now, why do you need to find it? Is the
Well, but
question
but
that I
but
have.
here's the thing: is I suspect what it's mostly for is, let's say you're bounty hunting, and you go to the guy's house or
Right.
whatever and pick up the trace there. So I think it's a little more conventional in some ways.
The other thing was, in looking through the character sheet, there's several moves or several different things that have happened that say, if you fail or if this happens, then lose a move, erase a move that you have existing, right?
Yeah.
And I know that was a little bit scary, and I think we talked about that during character creation last time. But so is Fraser taking feedback for this? Is this kind of a play test?
I don't know. I don't think
Okay.
so. I think he's at the sort of final stages on these things,
Okay.
actually.
The that move reminded me a lot of the keys in Lady Blackbird,
Mm-hmm.
where it was like, if you burn a key and basically go against whatever you're going to do, then you take an advancement, but you lose that ability.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it kind of felt like part of.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
As far as stars, first star to Sherry for backing me up whenever I failed. Cause boy, I rolled some real stinkers there. That was really nice.
That's awesome, though.
It was, and I was grateful for it to a certain extent, because then we got to see Forte shine, and that was something I really enjoyed. Star to Tyler, of course, for the ships, creating the ship's wishes and what it really wanted and all of that. That was so beautiful, and trying to fulfill it. That was so great. Stars to Vic, of course, for Patrick, for bringing in so much emotion into the switch. Like with Romero, he's such a jerk, and with Jules, who she's a little bit conniving and all of that, and figuring all that stuff out at the last moment. That was great. Stars to, of course, to Lowell for the heartbreaking scene at the end with the Cry Havoc coming in and taking Rafe out of the ship to protect him. That was beautiful. It was great. Yeah.
Awesome. Sherry.
All of you were really excellent, and I think we've all said that, but Vic's character is shining and luminous and very clearly defined. I enjoyed every bit of it. Tyler, I kind of know what kind of insanity we're going to be, peeking in at every time. And Annalise and I, we're the more practical of the crew, for which is not always the most rewarding, but it's actually kind of fun, because I feel like we work like a pretty good duo for that. So it was super fun. I had a lot of fun trying out my moves and trying to figure things out. And well, it was a good game. The setup was pretty funny. I was amused that I picked it up right away. And I still want to figure out who set all of this up, and to what extent is this people who were playing roles, whether they wanted to or not. Like, was this coerced roles and stuff? That was what I wanted to ask. And if there was any wish that I have, it would be, I wish that my turns were less. I get to take a move and then that's it. Like, I don't get the follow up.
Mm-hmm.
I would like a few more follow-ups.
Okay.
So that's all.
I think that is fair.
Yeah, the deep mystery is still such a cool mystery.
No, and I really wanted to know more about it. I really did.
Well, believe me, just like in a good anime, it will come back. So All right, well, I'm going to stop the recording.